Today we're bringing you Women of Color in Animation and Multimedia panel to you. Before we start, we have the BFA and MFA Computer Art ladies to come and talk a little bit about your departments and what y'all do.
Hi guys, I'm Jennifer Lock. I'm the one of the BFA co-leads for our SBA Women in Animation chapter.
And I'm Melissa Proctor, one of the MFA co-leads upstairs for Women in Animation, and we thank you all so much for coming to this great event.
So it's kind of interesting. Women in Animation started this academic partnership really recently, so this is all pretty new, everything we're doing. We started it last year. We're actually the first academic partner when Elizabeth and I started the chapter, and then Melissa joined us really shortly after, and for the past year we've been putting on events and talks and parties, Halloween parties, and just basically sort of making SEA more like networking friendly place where they're able to meet people in the industry. And so far we've had really wonderful women and men come and give talks, and usually they're from studios like Pixar or Leica or Titmouse and basically anywhere. And it's been really great so far. It's still pretty new. We're still kind of getting the hang of it and what it's going to be, but it's grown so much and we're really excited about it. And we're excited to have you guys here today.
Thank you so much. It definitely was a struggle was in being a PA in a department and being in meetings with so many upper management. It's just like you were saying, navigating and finding your voice and wanting to contribute but not wanting to overstep or knowing your place or your role as a PA. And what was good was I worked in the story department, so my supervisor, I was able to talk to him outside of meetings, and also just having story artists or the directors for the film, was Spies in Disguise, being physically in story just also helped in having a good relationship with the lead of story, so that if I didn't feel comfortable in the meeting, just outside the meeting, I know I could approach them or say like whatever. Then also Jen is here. I had her as like an additional backbone to be like, no, go on, go say, go whatever. But that's definitely a struggle, I would say, when entering the industries. You don't want to seem like you're the young, super aggressive, ambitious person that's just like bulldozing everyone that's there. But you also want to seem like you're paying attention and you're weird and you know you have something to contribute.
Just partially language is an issue, even though I can speak, sometimes it's the social reference in the back, right? We talk about some shows like transparent, it's like, what is that, transparent? You know, it's a show. And then it's just like a lot of things I need to study outside of work when it comes to network and social at the company. But also, for us, we are very design driven, so a lot of voice are basically like determined by the art directors. Because I work with the 3D team, and then mostly I'm executing what they designed and what the 2D team decided to do. So even though like everyone do have a voice, it's pretty flat structure at Buck, but I do learn how to like be more expressive, and also where I'm coming from. Like Taiwan, we are very conformative as a entire country. We don't usually seek for individualists. I think in New York, people like stress about being special, being yourself, but this is something I learned to do here. And then, yeah, I guess it's about finding my soul, I guess.
It's definitely covered most of what I would say. It's definitely hard to find your voice, especially in an editing room. Like, there's like few and far in between. As you mentioned, like the age gap is one thing. There's like a color gap, gender gap, and I've even seen certain like just differences in treatment, differences in pay. I think what's helpful for me is just like not allowing instances where I see like an injustice take place, or like just any type of just like different type of treatment take place, that I just automatically just like call it for what it is, and I'll like not go along with it or not be quiet, and just take a stance against that, and yeah, just recognize that like no one's perfect, we're all flawed, and just not like take it personally.
So there were times when I first started interviewing, it's like I'd wear my hair straight, I'd wear my hair in a bun, it's like all those type of things. When I first started at Blue Sky too, I was very, like I said, very conscious about how I was speaking, and I would say it took me about almost a year before I was like, I don't care, speaking in my slang or whatever, however I want. And I definitely can say that I felt even more received once I got more comfortable in my space in the studio environment. But that's just like, there's a lot of stereotypes and stigmas around various races and cultures. So the last thing you want to do is like perpetuate it. But you have to be authentic and true to yourself and know that, well, people are still going to get to know me as an individual. However they perceive me is their thing, and if they want to get to know me, they get to know me. But once I've just achieved that space, even in going forward and networking and talking and things like that, I just know who I am. I feel very comfortable, and that I feel like allows me to navigate the animation world and space is just a lot better, because I'm not worrying about that stuff anymore. As a community, can we ensure or be a part of seeing more content that represents women or women represented more actually in films and in cartoons, etc.? But then not only women can we see a diverse representation of women, but what can we as a community do?
I think we need to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, first and foremost, like, we need to call it how it is. And I mean, I know looking back on a lot of the films that you love, it's because you find something in that character that represents you. And when you're looking at a range of all of these characters that you're developing in-house, and you're like, there's nobody in here that I see as like that I can relate to because they don't have my struggle or they don't have my ethnicity even. It's really hard for you to connect with that character on so many different levels. So like calling it how it is and talking about it, because so many of those meetings and things that they will discuss ethnicity, race, and all of their issues and what comes with it. And if nobody in the room speaks up, then it's just going to slide into what is like the status quo, and that generally ends up being like a white male character.
Okay, yeah.
I changed my question because of the way you're talking. So, for example, I work in tech and we're trying to hire, but it's really hard to find diverse employees,
Okay.
right? I find like, right now I'm finding a lot of like older white males, but we don't see a lot of talent that's good enough to be at our studio that's more diverse.
Okay.
Do you guys feel you run similar issues when you're hiring?
I feel like accessibility too. It's like a lot of people that are in the industry know how to apply for certain jobs, but people that are newer to the industry won't know yet. So it's like, okay, how do I make myself accessible to them when it's not accessible to them yet? Like, how do I as a recruiter go out of my way to make sure that I am extending myself to, you know, not just SVA, but like maybe SVA has like a South Asian community that's also working towards MFA. Like maybe I'll reach out to them specifically. Maybe I reach out in all of these different areas, that it's not just the first thing that comes to me, but I'm also like actively recruiting out to all of these things.
People send in their resumes, but do you also think it might be a gender thing as well, where boys are always pushed to try harder, even if they don't have the skills? So for girls, it's like, we want you girls to be really good at what you do, and then when you're good at it, apply. So maybe there's more, you feel like there are more boys applying because of that, rather than women? And maybe women
To
are
some
not
extent,
applying?
I think so. I think you see all the qualifications listed on
Mhm.
job applications, and then you're like, okay, I don't meet like 3, so I'm just not gonna apply. And I encourage people to apply anyway, because if you can make it into the interview and they really like you, then you're like gonna be fine. And if you can try it, like Lauren was saying, we'll try it, like at least build up some sort of knowledge still, if you can make it to the interview. Like, don't count yourself out, let them count you out. Don't why would you do that? Yeah, still apply. I mean, if you're gonna get a no, you're gonna get a no anyway, but don't give yourself a no.
Yeah, guys will still apply, but women most likely they won't. They'll see one thing that they don't have, and then they'll be like, oh, well, I'm out of that job already. And
Do you think
that's-
we
yeah.
would have the president we had if he thought he could run the country? So don't think that you can.